So, Legends ZA has been out for a little while now, and it has quickly become one of my favorite Pokemon games in a very long time. Of course, it has its issues and we'll get into all that, but in all honesty, the issues haven't really affected my enjoyment of the game. Legends ZA feels to me what the Pokemon anime and manga feel like, especially with how freeing team building is in this game. I can have 3 different generations of starters on my team if I want, or I can catch most late game Pokemon really early, which is something mainline games tend to block players from doing. I really do hope that the next mainline Pokemon game takes the team building of ZA and improves upon it somehow, because I've had a lot of fun getting to customize my team and use all sorts of Pokemon I've never really thought about using in other Pokemon games before. Speaking of customization, I'm so glad ZA not only reintroduced actual character customization, but built on it. Not locking any of the clothing options behind gender really made customizing my character a lot of fun, and it was really fun to do, especially after Scarlet and Violet locked the player character to the school uniforms. I also wasn't too big a fan of the clothing options in the previous Legends game either. Speaking of which, I do wholeheartedly believe this game is a complete upgrade from Legends Arceus in almost every way. Of course, this is just my own opinion, and I have seen plenty of people say otherwise, and that's perfectly justified too. This is just my own personal opinion, and if you disagree, I can definitely understand that. But back to the topic at hand. I say it's almost a complete upgrade as the player agency in ZA has been reduced to healing and dodging attacks from wild Pokemon, where in Arceus you could at least make items or lure wild Pokemon where you wanted. Other than that, it's an improvement for me. The battles are so fun and thrilling, it actually feels like I'm in the Pokemon anime when I'm in battle, whether with trainers or with wild Pokemon. I don't want to compare the two Legends games too much, so the last thing I'll say is that battles with trainers is the one thing I really miss in Arceus. I do understand why it wasn't present in that game. Regardless though, the battles keep me on the edge of my seat. I've gotten close to losing a few times even though I'm the same level as some of the story trainers. This, along with getting to strategically think outside of battles with sneak attacks, also heightens the fun for me. Getting to see how my Pokemon runs around the battlefield and can land attacks on multiple Pokemon at the same time really does make me feel like I'm in the anime, like I said before. One issue I do feel the need to bring up is that battles on the rooftops can be a little chaotic. Sometimes if either Pokemon uses a move that involves charging forward or knocking back, Pokemon can easily end up falling to different areas and their attacks won't hit each other. This of course can fix itself and you can follow the Pokemon down or you can swap your own Pokemon to fix it. This also happens in courtyards since Pokemon is too big to walk through the door. Not as big of an issue as the rooftops, but still, it can definitely break away from the immersion. One more thing I'd like to quickly discuss is the music. While some of the music are just remixes of X and Y's OST, that isn't a bad thing. While yes, Luminous City's theme can get tiring after a while, the other music in the game can really make up for it, with all the faction leaders having their own unique battle themes, along with the Rogue Mega battle theme being an incredible boss battle music. I'll definitely be adding some of these to my playlist. Moving on to the wild areas. They're short, but thankfully that isn't to a disadvantage. While yes, every wild area has roughly 6 to 8 Pokemon, the ways they're laid out where the rarer ones are hidden or guarded by alpha Pokemon makes filling out the Pokédex a lot of fun. Every time I unlock the new wild zone, I would drop everything to go and visit it and fill up my Pokédex, getting to battle alpha Pokemon. Speaking of which, they feel just as scary as they did before, and getting to catch them feels so rewarding too. I've also heard it's really easy to shiny hunt in these games. I haven't done it myself yet, at least not intentionally, but I have run into a couple random shinies by complete accident. I do wish there was more than 230 Pokemon in this game, but thankfully it doesn't make the game's choice of team building feel limited. The way this game encourages you to have different types of Pokemon with you at all times to be able to collect Mega Shards or clear out blockades feels like HGM's used to, but in a much less mandatory and much more fun way. I'll admit though, I had Rock Smash on my fighting types way longer than I should have as I didn't realize that attacking moves could clear out the Mega Shards and boulders, not just Rock Smash. Fighting Rogue Mega Pokemon feels really fun, not as challenging as the boss fights in Arceus, but still really challenging and unique, except for Zygarde. Yes, this fight was still unique, but man, it was difficult. It took me so many tries and his aura walk felt incredibly intimidating. Like, dude, you can fly in Spleet Blitz. Why are you slowly walking towards me? Are you simply aura farming? I am a fan of most of the new Megas. Dragonite has grown on me a lot and I like Mega Meganium. While yes, I do agree nothing really changed with his Mega design, I do have to argue that Meganium by default is a relatively simple design. They didn't really do much to change it. Another Mega I really love is Mega Starmie. At first I thought it was lame, but the memes have made me grow to love this big alien. For our last portion of the video, I will be discussing the story. Of course, this will include spoilers both major and minor, so please, if you haven't already beat the game, then go do so. I don't want to spoil anyone's experience with the story, as it's quickly become one of my favorites in Pokemon. And yes, this also includes post-game spoilers, so please, beat the ZA Royale 15 times already. Alright, with that warning out the way, let's begin. The story of ZA I would say does a pretty good job of reintroducing alpha Pokemon, and the need to stay in the city. Of course, it'd be great to visit the rest of Kalos, but the game does a pretty good job with fleshing out Luminous City. Each faction introduced feels like its own arc in an anime, and it's great to see that the characters do still appear after the arc has ended. My personal favorite is Corbu, who, fun fact, his name means Raven in French. He also has a mysterious air about him, mentioning how Lysander once helped him out when he was younger. Speaking of which, oh my god, Lysander. He went from a character I forgot exists to one of the most well-written Pokemon characters of all time. Slowly regaining his memories and wanting to atone for what he did during X and Y, he knows he can't be forgiven, but that doesn't stop him from wanting to be a good person and do better. His character reflects AZ, where AZ's long journey finally ends. L's is just beginning. It's like a cycle very much in line with some of the themes of the Kalos trio. Every time I'd see L on screen, I'd immediately lock in because I knew whatever he was going to say was going to be incredibly important. His battle post-game is amazing. Not only is his theme amazing along with so many other musical tracks in this game, but also L's team reflects who he is now. Keeping Pyro and Gyarados because those were the two Pokemon he was closest to, along with being links to his past. Florges linking him as a parallel to AZ and to how he sees beauty in the world now. Garbodor to show that even if something isn't beautiful, it should still be accepted. And lastly, Sableye and Noivern can have a few different interpretations I've seen. One is hinting at the loss of sight in one of his eyes, and the other interpretation is a representation of everyday life being full of noises and how life can be full of different aspects. These views aren't my own, I did get them from a few YouTube comments I really did agree with. Another character I want to quickly mention is AZ. He gave us more lore on the ultimate weapon and of Angie. AZ spent his 3,000 years not only looking for Floette, but trying to atone for building the ultimate weapon. Angie being a part of said atonement. Of course that backfires horribly, but even after reuniting Floette, he still seems to atone for building such a weapon, even knowing it'll cost him his life. I'll be honest, reading his letter made me tear up, especially the part where he mentions he first got Floette as a gift from his mother. Getting to see AZ happy with Floette made me so happy. I love this story in X and Y, and to get a follow-up on that story that not only delivered but surpassed my expectations is something I will always be thankful for. Emma coming back is also great. I have similar feelings about her as I do with AZ. I'm glad she's back and thriving, but oh my god, she definitely doesn't know what happened to Looker after X and Y. But following in his footsteps is really heartwarming to see, and I'm glad we've got a follow-up to her character. Team MZ is also really great. The three characters all stand out in their own unique ways. Naveen being more reserved but also a huge Kanari fan, Lita dancing at the start of battles really gave her a ton of personality, and Tani not only being the leader of the group but also a really fun rival. Yes, she gets us in trouble with the mob, but she says she's sorry, okay? Tani does seem to have some underlying sadness to her character. She cares deeply for those around her and wants to make them feel appreciated, along with trying to find someone with any connection whatsoever to her mother, which we do get to see after being the Infinite ZA Royale 15 times. Finding out she's Jet's granddaughter was honestly such a shock, but it's great to see that she still has someone she can look up to. After all, she already lost her mother and now AZ, so getting to see a happy conclusion to her story in the postgame is so relieving. She's honestly one of my favorite rivals in the franchise. Of course, there are some gripes I have with the story. For one, the lack of returning characters. Every time Lita mentioned her brother, I thought the story was building up to him coming back. No Shauna mentioned somehow? I mean, for crying out loud, they mentioned Trevor, but not Shauna? Oh my god, bruh. Along with no mention of the former champion or even Luminous's very own gym leader. All he gets is a couple of NPCs mentioning him and his sister, which is wild because the game is centered around his own gym. Who knows, maybe we'll get more mentions of him in the DLC, we'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, ZA has become one of my favorite Pokemon games. The story gave me a new appreciation for X and Y, that along with team building feeling like something straight out of the anime and manga. Along with a fun battle system, really, it all comes together to give me a ton of enjoyment. I look forward to playing the DLC and hopefully making a review of that as well. Let me know your thoughts below, and please subscribe. Bye bye!